Good morning and welcome to the newspaper review here on TAV TV. My name is Obed Jerry, your host for today, and this is where we get to discuss with people on the streets, members of the streets. We get to see their reactions as regards headlines making rounds on the papers. Yes, you can also be a part of this show. Do have to subscribe to our channel if you're yet to subscribe. Turn on your notification button, connect with us also across all our social media platforms so that you get to receive our notifications. Well, before we discuss with people on the street, let's first look into the newspapers and see what the stories look like. Today being 20th March, Wednesday, 2024. First, we'll be looking at the Nation's newspaper. We could see as headline here. It says, "Violence will cease in Southeast after my release," says Kanu. Details of the story is found on page 4. Overdraft to federal government. Senate grills CBN chiefs. Details is found also on page 4. Umeoji appointed Zenith Bank GMD. Congratulations to this young MD. Details is found on page 7. Assembly asks CJ to raise panel on Shaibu. Details is found on page 29. Labour Party's attack on Reps Kaku's tactless, says leader. Details is found on page 29. Senate passes NYSC bill. Details is found also on page 29. We can see how the main story here reads, "Soldiers killing, no one left in community," says governor. Sub-story under that reads, "Rep, villagers fled into the bush. Oborevere briefs Tinubu." Details of the story is found on page 2. Also here we could see as headline here reads, "Move on to drive vessel traffic to One, Warri, Calabar ports." Sub-story under that reads, "Minister inaugurates road project in One port." This is found on page 4. 42,000 metric tons of grains being shared to states, says ministers. Details of the story is found on page 2, and that's all be taken on the Nation's newspaper. And moving on, we'll be looking at the Punch newspaper. We could see as headline here. It says, 30 trillion naira loan. Senate uncovers fresh infraction. Summons Cardoso. Details of the story is found on page 32. Reps to quiz minister over $300 million malaria loan spending. Details is found on page 22. Shareholders excited as Zenith Bank appoints Umeoju first female GMD. Details is found on page 33. At the main story here, we can see it says, "Reign of terror. 165 farmers killed March. Farms deserted as bandits demand 3 billion naira." Details of this story is found on page 2. Federal government names 15 terrorism financiers, BDCs, plans sanction. Details is found on page 42. Edo Assembly demands CJ's panel for Shaibu's impeachment. Details is found on page 18. Delta bloodbath. Governors meet Tinubu. National Assembly demands thorough probe. Details is found on page 30. Son held for allegedly hacking 75-year-old father to death. A very sad one. Details is found on page 5. Parties in fighting. Parallel primary wasting INEC resources, says Yakubu. Details of the story is found on page 18, and that's all we'll be looking on the Punch newspaper. And lastly for today, we'll be looking at the Daily Trust newspaper. You will see how the main story here reads, Kano, Katsina, Sokoto, 4 others spend 28.3 billion naira on Ramadan feeding. Sub-story under that reads, Cleric calls for accountability. Details is found on page 4. Children executed by Israeli force in raid on Gaza hospital. Details is found on page 5. Adora emerges Zenith Bank's first female GMD. Details is found on page 20. INEC laments rising costs, disruptions from acrimonious primaries, waivers for defectors. Details is found on page 11. And lastly, we see here it says, Akpabio under fire for linking soldiers killing to mercenaries. This is found on page 25, and that's all we'll be looking on the Daily Trust newspaper. Now let's get to see the reactions of people on the street. Let's get to hear what they have to say as regards these headlines making rounds on the paper. Stay tuned. All right, good morning, sir.
Good morning, my dear.
I would like your thoughts on the Nation's newspaper that says, "Violence will cease in Southeast after my release," says Nnamdi Kanu. And we know he has been held in custody for a very long time now, after being remanded in Kenya.
Nnamdi Kanu is a leader, and it's a man that we know that loves peace. It's a man of peace. But it's only that the Nigeria as a nation does not understand him, because what he's talking about is freedom of his people. He's not talking about...
And everybody has the right to freedom.
Yes, he's talking about the freedom of his people. It's only that people do not understand him. You can't keep silent and get freedom. You must take a step before you want to get his freedom. And just look at what is happening in the entire state now, because nobody is fighting for their sake. That is why they will bring soldiers from Abuja to come and destroy, kill people carelessly because there's nobody from there that give them information about what is happening. It doesn't happen in the north like this. But when it comes to our side, like they just do us as if we are fools. They treat us anyhow. So what I'm talking about Nnamdi Kanu has seen what is happening in the south and southeast, and which he dislikes. And he was talking to see that those things stops. We have resources here, and they are using the resources to develop Lagos, Abuja, and some other places. Why this place is empty? You don't have better school, don't have better road, no better hospital. We are businessmen. Our seaports are not true, and we should keep silent. No, it is only a blind man. It's a man that doesn't understand. He said that will keep silent. But the man that knows what it pays, because it is he that really should know what it pays him. Nnamdi Kanu know what these people are suffering. And you need people like Nnamdi Kanu in the whole of the south-east. We need people that can say the truth. Say Nnamdi Kanu is not looking for money, he's not looking for oil well, not looking for government house. He's saying freedom of my people. It is like when the children of Israel were in Egypt. Even Moses know that they are treating his people bad. So he was crying. He was telling the children, see what we do to come out of, because God has ordained it. And that is why it's going to pass. And so this Biafra issue has been ordained, whether Nigeria like it or not. A day shall come when this must come to them. But let us follow the procedure, the normal process of getting it. It is not by violence.
That is referendum.
And Kala has never talked about violence. And the accusation they are giving is that he's talking about, he's never one day supported violence.
That is to say, some persons are using his name to perpetrate evil acts.
What I mean. That is what I mean.
Okay, now, do you think there is chances that if he's released, peace will be in South?
Yes, if Kalo is released, because Kalo has people. Kalo is my man. Kalo is everybody's people, persons. So we want to hear him. When he says something, say, this is not by violence. Stop. Others will stop. Every other people will stop. And I'm not saying that it's the cause of violence, but he's a person that will listen to.
How many persons will listen to
you? Listen to me. You know that the way the path is following, it's the right path. Everybody needs freedom. Look at what happened in Abba many years past. They kill you. So just kill many people, bury them, put them inside water. Assuming that if one of your family is there, we could remember what happened in those days, 1960s, 60s, 70s, how they kill people. The same southeast, the same south, and they are still killing us up to today. So if you are born in that place, won't you do something? Will you keep silent and see this in continue till enter to your generations? That is not good. And that is why we have, thank God, say we have somebody like Carlo, like Ojiku, that have been saying no to this. It hadn't been Nnamdi's conversation about it by now. It would have been released. He was just saying one Nigeria, one Nigeria. Is it not one Nigeria that kept him frustrated? Has he attempted the seat of the president after them? No. He was not even a president. He was a prime minister. He's a ceremonial president because there was a prime minister controlling that time. So he has not much power. He doesn't want us to be in that seat of presidency. They are just coming us, they are bringing these dualities. That's all.
Let's look at it from this angle now. Let's say if Biafra comes to stand today, do you think Biafra will be able to cope as a nation? Remember, we are not, the state is not so much.
You see, if you born a child, on that day you born a child, it's not the day you start working. It will be a gradual process. It is very gradual. What we need is knowledge. Knowledge is power. Knowledge will lift us. Knowledge will give us opportunity. And another thing that we must obey God. If Biafra happens to come, Biafra is a God nation. It's a God people that plans. We are not lazy. Every Biafrans are not lazy. We are able to do. We have skills. We have the wisdom. Do you understand? If Biafra come, I'm watching Malasi. Talk about China. What developed this country was agriculture. That makes it what the in China today, we are hearing every day today. It was just agriculture. And we have a plenty land like we have it today in Nigeria. Nigeria is just wasting their land. If you go to North, you see a plenty land. Western, that tell you, doing all this, give it to Boko Haram and all this. Because Biafrans have the land, you have the oil, you have the cocoa, you have the other things that can develop development. So it will not take a long time and Biafra become what they were supposed to be.
All right, thank you very much. All right, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome. I would like your thoughts on the Punch newspaper that says reign of terror. 165 farmers killed March. Farm deserted as bandits demand 3 billion naira. Now, this is a number of only farmers that have been killed in just the month of March, and the month of March is yet to be finished.
You know, it baffles us that this number is actually dying, and nothing has been done.
Exactly.
Obviously, the story of bandits, terrorists, and the attacks they have been targeting on farmers. This is not like a new news to us now.
Exactly.
And this is 165 in just 1 month.
And just farmers.
Just farmers. Regardless of those ones that our newspaper headlines cannot pick. If you want to put everybody together, it's as if they are actually reducing population of late. But it saddens our hearts that regardless of all these headlines we're hearing, nothing is being done about it. Because I still remember stories of lamentations coming from this farmers that they cannot access their farms, and these are like the person that feed the nation generally.
We know that our agricultural sector is at a low level at the moment. We have at least 20% of agricultural people that are venturing into agriculture. Now we are seeing that this number of people venturing into agriculture are being killed drastically.
And at the end of the day, they'll tell us, let's go back to agriculture. Let's go back to agriculture. Now, obviously, and it's rather not safe. We don't really have much to say, but my condolence to the families that have actually lost their life. 165 is actually a great loss to the nation. I stand to be corrected, just like I said before. It looks as if of late they are trying to reduce the population in our dearest country, Nigeria. Is it an escape route to actually escape the current starvation? Are we too much in Nigeria that they want to reduce the population? Because the killings, it's becoming uncontrollable, and nothing has been done to it. Prior to the last event we just had in Delta, those ones are becoming too alarming because it wasn't civilians that were killed.
Soldiers, and
it was
soldiers.
not just ordinary soldiers. Now, for the aspect of bandits and farmers, we just hear it on our newspaper headlines, and it ends there. Those families, I bet you, this 165. This is just like, should I say, a camouflage of the original copy. If you want to go deep into this matter now, you know that so many lives have been lost. If newspaper can carry 165, it means it is more than that. So we really don't have much to give out, because these are lives that have been lost. These are Nigerians. These are laboring Nigerians. These are like the food basket of the nation that has been carried away. It's actually affecting every single person that actually eats or feeds from agriculture.
Now, somebody was saying that why all these incessant killing are happening is should be blamed on the removal of subsidy, the hardship in the country, and hunger. That assuming these people are they feed well, they won't indulge in such activities. What do you have to say about that?
The truth is, Nigerians, we are good at making excuses for every single thing that comes out. They will give you a reason for it. They will give you reasons for it. In as much as we know that there is starvation, the economy is bad, I bet you as a person, if we get to give out 100 jobs now to every single Nigerian, to 100 Nigerians, they will still be killings.
Because there are some persons that are wicked at heart.
Naturally very wicked, especially we Nigerians. We are so selfish. Let's take it from the top. You know what I mean? From the top. From the top, we are very selfish. So how much will the persons below? Give us 100 jobs now. I bet you most persons with their selfish heart will still steal. So it doesn't have to do much with the economy. It doesn't have to do much, because Nigeria as a whole, Nigeria will not have a name without me and you in it. So it all starts.
Some of the change starts.
Yes, it starts from our past administration made it very clear that change begins with us. So it all starts from us as a person. It is not based on the current situation. Let's stop making excuses. Let's actually make changes from ourselves. If for instance, I am among those terrorizing a particular community, I decide to have a change of heart. That is where change starts.
Or even if you are maybe an informant, if the informants go as far as reporting that I hear of they are planning this thing, the security agencies will intercept and save these people from dying and losing their lives and property.
The part of being an informant, the only thing that kills that office of being an informant is money. Exactly. So if we can take money out of Nigeria, let's just take money. It's not that people don't know these people that this bandit are actually killing.
Because they come through information.
Obviously.
They know when to.
They are just like our police officers will say, if you see something, say something. It is easy to see. but it's very difficult to say. This is Nigeria, sir. Money closes our mouth.
But then, aside money, some persons are scared that when they speak out, they will be arrested as suspects.
Obviously.
And we know what happens most of the time when these persons are arrested as suspects.
Obviously. So in order to be on the safe side, that's why I say let this thing start from within us. If I start reporting now, I'm putting my life and the rest of my family at risk. This is Nigeria. Everything is possible. You don't tell Mr. A about Mr. B. You're putting your life at risk. You hear things like now only you there, now only you see him, now only you won't kill yourself. So you carry Nigerian matter for your head. Nobody ready to carry Nigerian matter on our head. So let's carry our matters within our heart and make the changes within us.
All right, thank you very much. All right, this is where we draw our curtains for today. You've heard what has been discussed here. You heard the analysis of the members of the street, what they have to say as regards these headlines making rounds on the papers. If you have a counter opinion or if you have anything to add to it, please slide to our comment section and drop your comments without hesitation. If you are yet to subscribe to our channel, do not to subscribe, turn on your notification button, connect with us across all our social media platforms. Yes, my name is Obed Jerry, your host for today, and this has been the newspaper review here on TAV TV. See you next time.